Hello and welcome to this AI visibility tutorial by keyword.com. My name's Benjamin, I'm head of growth, and in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get started with AI visibility so that you can start tracking your brand's performance in AI search results and increase its visibility. With that in mind, let's get started. And as you can see, I'm in my account and I'm tracking the brand MailChimp.com. And I don't yet have any data here because I haven't added any prompts or search terms to track. So that's usually the first thing that you want to do. However, what I recommend doing is actually adding a topic first, because based on the topic that you've created here, you'll get a list of suggested prompts related to that topic. So that's really useful when you're just beginning, and that's what we're going to do. So here we're going to create a topic. We're going to track a very general one, so best email marketing platforms. You can add a description here if you want. You can also add some keywords to narrow the focus of your topic, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to leave it as it is. We're going to create a topic, and once you've done that, you can go to the search terms tab and you can click on find terms. You can choose the topic you've created and you click on find terms. Then you just have to wait 5, 10, 15 seconds, and keyword.com will generate a list of suggested prompts to track, and we can choose the most relevant ones. So that's what we're going to do right now. And here we can see some prompts. So what do we have here? What is the best email marketing platform for small businesses? I think that MailChimp would want to be visible here. So we can choose this prompt to track. And as we can see, we have a range of AI engines to choose from. But for the sake of this video, we're going to go with the most popular ones. So we're going to choose AI Overview, ChatGPT, and Perplexity. You can choose a tracking interval here. We're going to leave it as weekly. And you can also choose the region and language. So here we're going to go with United States, and the language will be English. Let's see which email marketing platform has the best automation features. I'm not sure if MailChimp positions themselves as such, but let's go with it. We're going to choose this one as well. AI Overview, ChatGPT, Perplexity. We'll have the same tracking interval, same region and language. What are the most affordable email marketing platforms? I'm pretty sure MailChimp positions themselves as such, so we're going to choose that one as well. And here, we're going to choose the same 3 AI engines, the same settings. You can go down the list here to choose as many prompts as you want, whichever are the most relevant to your business. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to choose these 3 here across these 3 AI search engines, and we're going to click on save. And we're going to wait for a couple minutes while keyword.com retrieves the data for us. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to grab a coffee and I'll be right back, and I'll explain all of the different performance metrics that we have. So now keyword.com has finished retrieving the data for us, and we can see some high-level performance metrics for our different tracked prompts. So here we see, for example, that for ChatGPT, the prompt, what are the most affordable email marketing platforms? We're number 5 here in the list. Our visibility score is 71.4, and we've only ran one run here, obviously, because we just added the prompt. If we click on it here, we'll actually be able to see some performance metrics for MailChimp here. So we'll be able to see, for example, the visibility score, which is an overall measurement of how visible your brand is for this particular prompt. The latest position, so what position was it recorded at when we did the last run, so position 5 here. The sentiment score is how positively or negatively your brand is being portrayed by AI search engines. The average position, well, we've only had this prompt for one run here, so it's going to be the same as the last position, so number 5. The amount of brand mentions leading back to MailChimp, the number of citations leading back to MailChimp. The detection rate is how many times throughout all of the runs was MailChimp actually detected in the result, so 100% of the time here. And also the top 3 percentage here. Since MailChimp came in 5th position, it's going to be 0. So that's like the high level performance metrics that you can actually see. If you click on view results, you'll get some additional metrics about the performance of your brand for that prompt. So here we see some summary details about the prompt. So we see that we're tracking it on ChatGPT. We see which topic it's associated to, the region, the amount of runs, when was it last run, the next run, etc. We see the same metrics we just saw before. So these are the same metrics as before. And here what we can actually see is brand performance over time versus our competitors. So obviously we've just started tracking this prompt, so we don't have any trends yet, but over time, we're going to start seeing some trends for how our brand is performing for the specific metric visibility score over time. So we can filter down by position, we can filter down by sentiment score, and we can actually analyze how we're competing versus our competitors. Here in the mentioned brand analysis, we'll see all the brands here that are mentioned. So for example, we can see that Brevo came in 2nd position. So here, if we look at the mentioned brand analysis, we'll find Bravo in second position, and we can actually analyze their specific metrics and how they're performing for that prompt here. So we can see that, for example, their sentiment score is 70%. They have 4 citations leading back to their brand. We can actually compare how we're doing versus our competitors. So MailChimp came in 5th, and we can see, well, which other competitors are there? What are the metrics? In the citation and reference analysis, we'll find all of the citations that ChatGPT used in its answer. So that's really useful because we can see all the citations, and we can see all the citations in which we're being mentioned and we're not being mentioned. So that's something that's really useful for us. We can see it on Tech Radar, we're being mentioned here. Well, also interesting to see a Reddit post being mentioned here, and we're actually mentioned here, so that's really cool. And if you go all the way down to the executions history here, we'll see all the details about all of the runs that we've done. And if you click on Spyglass, you can actually see the search result for this specific prompt. We can see all of the brands that were mentioned here. And if we go into web view here, we can actually see the search result that was retrieved on ChatGPT. So this is really useful to be able to validate the data that we're seeing above. So that's it for the search terms. And so let's head over now to the overview tab. In this tab, you'll be able to see all of your brand performance metrics for all of your prompts that you're tracking. So here we see the same visibility metrics that we saw before. So the visibility score, sentiment score, average position, and so on. And if you scroll down over here, you'll actually see the brand performance over time. So again, there's no trend here because we've just started tracking these terms, but you'll see the actual brand performance over time for different metrics for your brand and your competitors. So you're able to track how they're doing over time for all of the prompts that you're tracking. Here, we're able to see our topic performance. We've only added one topic. So we see that for all of the search terms that are related to the topic best email marketing platforms, we have a visibility score of 54.5%. So if you're adding multiple topics, you're able to compare how visible you are across topics, which topics you're strong in, which topics you're weak in, which ones need more work. And you're actually able here on the right side to track your AI engine performance. So here we see that ChatGPT is our strongest AI search engine with a visibility score of 73%. And our weakest one is Perplexity, where we're only visible at 33.3%. So now we know, for example, that Perplexity is an AI engine that we need to work on. And so you're able to filter down this data here using these filters up here. So you can choose which AI engine you want to be looking at. You can choose which topic you want to be looking at. You can aggregate the data. You can also choose the time range that you want to be looking at. And you can also filter down by the queries that you're tracking. Now let's head over to the competitors tab. In this tab, you'll find the entirety of the competitors that have been picked up in AI search results for all of your prompts. So we're able to see all the different competitors here. So there's a lot of data, but if you're not wanting to say, if you consider, for example, that perhaps Zoho or HubSpot or any other brand is not an actual competitor, you're actually able to blacklist them here. So you're able to remove them from your metrics here. And you're also able to add specific competitors. So you can add a brand here if you want to be specifically tracking that competitor. Now let's move over to the Citations tab. The Citations tab is a very important tab because this will group all of the citations that are being picked up by AI search engines in their answers. So here we see that, for example, Reddit is a extremely influential source here, right? It's the top domain that's being referenced in all of our prompts. So this suggests that we need to be working heavily on our Reddit presence so that we can increase our visibility across our prompts. You're also able to see a breakdown of the type of sources that are being used by AI engines here. So we see that, for example, 27.5% of our citation category are coming from blogs here. And if you can actually see which blogs are being sourced here, we can also see that 26.5% of our sources come from comparison pages. And so we're able to actually filter down here onto the data to see what are the most influential types of sources that AI prefers when coming up with its answer for describing brands. So we have a whole range of graphs here that you can dig deep into to understand more about what types of sources and trends to uncover when it comes to the citations. But what is really interesting here is that you're able to actually see all the top domains. So as you saw before, we had Reddit. So here we can actually see for Reddit which brands are being mentioned the most. So we can see that Omnisend, MailChimp, Email Octopus, Klaviyo, and all of these different brands are being mentioned here, and we can see how many times they're being mentioned and for what search terms they're actually being cited. So this is really useful information in case we find that we're not being mentioned in a specific Reddit post and we want to come up with a strategy for getting MailChimp mentioned in these types of citations. So we can go down the list here. We can actually look at all of the domains, and we can also look at all of the URLs. So we can see, for example, that WP Beginner Showcase Best Email Marketing Services is one of the URLs that's frequently used. So we see that it has a 5% share, and that if we actually click on it here, MailChimp is not being mentioned. So this is something that if I was working for MailChimp, I would be very interested in trying to be mentioned here. So we can see that this specific blog post here is not mentioning MailChimp whatsoever. So we can dig deep through the data here. We can analyze the top brands by mentions, what is actually linking back to their brand, where are their strengths, where are their weaknesses, and we're able to formulate a strategy so that we can increase our visibility by being included in more citations, or on the contrary, coming up with a strategy to create content that will then get cited by AI search engines. So this is really useful information. It's a goldmine of data, and this is why I recommend most users spend a lot of their time. And the last tab that I want to be showing to you today is the sentiment tab. And here we're able to see the details of how AI search engines are describing our brands, which is really important because we need to remind ourselves of something. Google lists brands, AI describes them. And when they describe them, they either use positive, neutral, or negative words to describe these brands. And in this tab, we're able to actually analyze those words for not only our brand, but for our competitors. So here, for example, we see MailChimp has an overall sentiment score of 61.7%. It has multiple positive, neutral, and negative words used to describe the brand. And if we click here, we can actually see the different types of wording that AI search engines are using for describing our brand. So here, if we go to the positive ones, we see good for beginners, flexibility, generous free plan, user-friendly interface, ease of use. These are all very good words to have when describing your brand. However, if we go to the negative words here, we can see limited automation, costs rise, prices jump, and these are all words that we don't necessarily want AI to associate with our brand. And so here we're actually able to go down to the negative keywords. For example, limited automation, we see it came from Google AI Overview. We can actually click on it here and we can see which term returned this negative limited automation word when describing our brand. So we see which email marketing platform has the best automation. And in here, we see simpler platforms like MailChimp are good for beginners, but their automation features can be limited. And so we're able to actually see here that MailChimp is not being described as a very advanced automation platform. And if we go into the citations, well, we can actually analyze where AI Overview got this information from. So we can go across Bravo.com, Email Tool Tester, Zendesk, or Reddit, and we can actually analyze what users or what authors are saying about our brand so that we can then find ways to rectify this if we believe MailChimp has advanced automation features. It might not, but maybe they do want to position themselves as such. In this case, however, if I was a user and I typed a specific prompt, I wouldn't be going for MailChimp immediately because it doesn't seem like it has advanced automation. So this is just one of the many use cases for the sentiment score here. We're actually able to dive deeper into all of our competitors and we can see where they shine, where they lack, and we can actually use this information in our content, in our PR, so that we can then match the expectations of what we want our brand to be portrayed as in AI search results. That's the gist of it for AI visibility. We could spend hours going through each tab and analyzing the data, especially when it comes to the citations and especially when it comes to the sentiment tab. But I think this is enough for you to get started. So feel free to jump right into it, add a topic, start adding some search terms, start analyzing the data, see where your brand shines, see where your brand is lacking, and start making those strategic decisions to improve your brand's visibility. We have a whole range of videos on our YouTube channel that dive deeper into how you can improve your brand's visibility in AI search results. Feel free to check those out. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or our customer support team. We're on 7 days a week and we're always ready to assist you. Thanks for joining keyword.com, and let's see your brand rise at the top of AI search results.